I'm Billy Hollowell. Welcome to Pure Talk, a show brought to you by PureFlix.com. Today I'm here with Atticus Shafer. He is the star of ABC's The Middle. How you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. So what have you been up to since the end of The Middle?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. My life mostly became planting pepper plants and tomato plants with my mom, making some good preserves, making some salsa at home.
Hanging out. This sounds good.
Absolutely.
This sounds really
Hanging
good.
out, eating some good food. But you know, I'm always staying busy somehow. I'm doing my voiceover work still. I'm working on Pete the Cat, working on Harvey Street Kids, which is a lot of fun, and doing some stuff for my production company as well. So I'm excited about it.
I love it. Well, so I had to bother you to come back here because the audience loved you so much. They loved the last interview we did. We talked a lot about your faith, working in Hollywood,
Yes, sir.
your experience on The Middle. And so what we did was we went out to all of you out there on Facebook and we were like, hey, what would you ask Atticus if you had a chance?
That's awesome.
And so we got some really great questions and responses from people. So we're going to go through some of these questions.
Excellent.
It's going to be like a drill. I'm going to give you the question
I'm ready.
and we talk it through. All
I'm
right,
stoked.
so this one's actually a fun one.
Okay.
This is Lynette S.
Okay.
She wants to know, what is your favorite book of the Bible?
Ooh, great question, Lynette. Oh my goodness. Well, full disclosure, I haven't gone all the way through the Bible yet. How I kind of worked it out is I began studying the Bible with my mom. And so we read the Bible together every day, as often as we can, and we'll do at least a chapter or two a day going through the Bible. And what we decided to do is we decided to do New Testament, and then go into Old Testament, and then New Testament again, because then you have Jesus in your heart as you're reading through the Old Testament stuff, and a better understanding of the prophets, right? And so, oh man, you know, I know that one of my mom's favorites, and it became mine as well, is John, because it talks a lot about healing and about what we have been given, the fruits of the Spirit, the gifts of the Spirit, when we accept Jesus as Lord. So I definitely love John. And then as an Old Testament one, we're going through Isaiah now. And that's been incredibly powerful. Not only the prophetic messages that are in it and seeing the connection between what he was talking about then and then when Jesus came, but also just the strength that we can have as believers going into the world.
I love that. And
Yeah.
you chose two. This is good. You didn't
Yes.
just give Lynette one.
No,
You went for
yeah.
old
New
and
Testament, new, yeah.
You got to do that. All right, so we've got another question here from Chris M.
Yeah.
How hard is it to be in the world of Hollywood and not get sucked into, quote, the world?
That's a very good question. And you know, it's like anything in life, really. With my condition, I think we touched on this a little bit. I have my genetic condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, which means brittle bones, right? And it's one of those things where when you live with that, it's a genetic condition, it's all you know, you navigate it day by day. And the same thing applies with being a Christian, being in the world, period, as a Christian, but especially being in Hollywood. You know, there's something so beautiful about being a storyteller. There truly is. That's my joy of being in this industry, is being a storyteller, whether it be an actor or behind the camera. But you have to navigate it day by day, and you navigate it situationally, and you have to lean on the Lord. Lean on the Lord for strength, lean on the Lord for wisdom, saying the right thing to someone if they are talking to you about your faith or questioning you, and really just leaning on Him for your answers, leaning on Him for your strength. And it can be overwhelming, very much so. Just in everyday stuff, what you see on the street, especially out here in California, when you navigate all the different areas. But it's a matter of you keep your focus on Him, you talk with Him about everything. Because that's the habit that I've needed to get into for my own life, is when something concerns me or something bothers me, or even just something is a good thing, bring it to Him and talk with Him about it.
It's that clash of values.
Yes,
right? And
absolutely.
So being rooted in your own helps you navigate
Yes.
living in maybe a culture where some of those values might not align.
And you know, something that I've really had to understand is there's one thing to be patient and understanding with a person, right? If you were the complete opposite of me, let's say, we were talking, I would need to understand you have a different mindset than I do, and I'm mainly just explaining myself if you're questioning me about something I believe or a value system I have, right? But you also need to make sure, knowing who you are, you don't take on the other person's traits as your own. Don't succumb to that in that understanding. You need to still be who you are and stand your ground for what you believe.
Right, you don't sacrifice your values
Right.
simply because you're trying to understand somebody else.
Or per the company that you're around
Sure.
or whatever, yeah.
Sure. Well, and there was another question. It was interesting because this is from a woman named Carol Lucy.
Okay.
Carol Lucy C. She said, "You're a great actor, but would you do Hollywood all over again?"
Oh, Thank you, Carol, for the compliment. You know, it's funny because I kind of sort of am now, because I went into Hollywood as an actor and just focusing on acting. And I have not, I mean, when I got into the industry, I didn't know anything about the industry. This was a complete adventure for me. I learned as I went.
And you were young.
Absolutely.
Really
I was 8 years old when I started. And getting into this industry as an actor, started from scratch, and then I worked my way up to where I am now. And I'm kind of doing the same thing now, going behind the camera, because that's a different aspect of it. You have to, you meet with different people, you take different meetings, you have to figure out how to pitch, you have to do all this other stuff, right? And so in a sense I am, but if it were to be starting over as an actor again, I've definitely gone through my vetting process. So I feel satisfied with that, and I'm still growing and learning every day. So.
I love that. I love that. Well, then you have Elizabeth H. And
Okay.
she wanted to know, how has the middle changed your perspective on the way you live or see things on life?
You know, that's a very good question. Just with my situation, how my life was growing up, there would be stories that Brick would go through that would be things that I probably would never have been exposed to in my own life. And now that I have, I'll either go, wow, this is really cool and interesting, and I'm glad to have experienced that. And then in other circumstances, it'll be, okay, I can say I've done that. I'm good.
You've gotten to learn from the character you played.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I remember going back to season 1, and there was an episode where Brick is trying basketball with Mike, and he's in a basketball court. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, wow, never been in a basketball court in my life, probably never would have. I'm good.
Like, I've experienced
Nice.
this. I'm
This
done.
is cool. Yeah, I'm good.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, and I think there were a number of questions about your future, right?
Yes,
and
yeah.
what you're going to do next. So Roxy S., she had asked, what are your dreams for yourself in 10 years and how will you shape them?
You know, it's funny because, again, I have grown, I have matured, and of course, as a Christian, we have kind of unique dreams that most people would go, really, that's a goal? But it is. You know, as far as a career-wise, you know, I would love to see my production company be able to do some great things, tell some great stories, and begin to get that ball rolling. I'd love to do some more fun roles that are kind of, you know, I'm breaking away from the middle set that I've known for a long time, and now be able to explore different sets, learn from new people, learn more about my craft. And then quite frankly, too, I mean, I'm the type of guy that I've had a place in my heart. I do want to get married. I want to have my own family. I want to have my kids and be able to experience life with them as well. And so family is very important to me, and I want to be able to experience that too.
I love that. Well, there was another question from Elizabeth H., and we
Okay.
heard from her before about the middle changing your life.
Yes.
She wanted to know, what would you say has been your biggest achievement, whether it was in the past or now, and how has that achievement changed you?
Man, Elizabeth's coming up with great questions,
had
right?
a couple great ones.
She's got some good ones. Well, Elizabeth, oh man. See, an achievement for me, I live by the Ralph Waldo Emerson poem that says, to know even one other life has breathed easier because you live. This is to have succeeded. And I agree with that. It's not a matter of how big you can be. It's a matter of what do you do and those life-changing moments that you can come about, right? And being on the show, doing the movies I've done, doing the work that I've done, definitely is a big achievement. And I'm proud that the Lord was able to take me as this little fragile peanut that had literal question marks shaped into his legs to now I'm healthy, I'm able to walk, I'm able to function, and I have a job that's an amazing job that is helping me to be independent and not be dependent.
And you've inspired a lot of other people along the way.
Absolutely, and that's something that I can be proud of. That's definitely something to be proud of, and definitely something that I do see as a great achievement. But you know, something that is huge for me is I'm thankful that my mom was the type of person where she was a Christian, she exposed me to the Lord, she taught me about Him, but she didn't force it down my throat. And she never said, you have to do this, otherwise you're not my son. She just presented it to me, and she said, I'm leaving it up to you because this is you. It's your relationship with the Lord. And having gone through everything that I've gone through, to have been called, because I know it's not me, it's Him, to have been called out of darkness into His light, and to be a Christian now and to have that perspective is huge for me, because I would not be able to navigate life without it, even now. And I know a lot of other people might agree with this. It is so hard to navigate this world and to navigate life. Now add on a genetic bone condition, you're fragile, you've gone through pain, suffering, whatever it may be, or you've witnessed it. And you know, I would not be able to navigate this world without it. And as far as an achievement goes, I don't pat myself on the back for it, but I'm thankful that I am where I am now.
I love that. Thankfulness. That's an important thing for all of us.
Absolutely.
So we've got Stephanie G.
Okay.
And Stephanie G wants to know, are you able to share your faith with your coworkers in the industry?
I try to. And that is a good question, Stephanie, because that is what we've been called upon to do. I am the type of person where when I share my faith, I never want to Bible thump, because I've even had people do that to me, even as a Christian, and it does not bode well. It doesn't achieve a goal. For some people, it might, and that's fine. But for a lot of people, especially people that don't want to believe, you can only be an example. And so whether it's me going in with a Christian t-shirt or wearing my crosses or just being an example and trying to do the right thing when I can, that's how I share my faith. A story that I have from set is that there was a guy, one of the electricians, he had a very bad event happen to him right near the end of the show. And he was devastated, and I could see it. I mean, the only thing you could relate it to is a soldier going through PTSD, really, is what ended up happening. And I noticed it, and he kind of did things that I knew he was being sucked up into a pit. And so I just reached out to him one day, and I said, hey, I know that you believe in the Lord. You know, I do too. I'd love to just pray for you. And I did, and it meant the world to him. And I'm thankful that I heard that call in my heart to do that, because it did. It helped him to cope. And it helped him to get out of that dark time. And again, I'm just a small portion of it, and he was able to reach out and get what he needed to get to be nourished and to get through that time. And I'm thankful that when the Lord does place those little calls on your heart, you should listen. And have that discernment and then know what to do.
Yeah, there are times you almost feel it too, and you resist it a little bit
Absolutely.
because of where you are. Or
Lord,
the
are you sure?
Are you sure? Like, this is what you want me to do right now?
I don't know, Lord. I'm not sure about that. I mean, this is that guy. Blah blah blah. and you know, you do. There are times where it might not be coming from you, and I've experienced that. I've experienced it where I'll see certain things and I go, I should do something. I should do something. I should do X. I need to do X. And then all of a sudden I go, no, I can't. That's not me. Why would I do that? And then suddenly someone stands up behind me and they go and do the exact thing I was going to do. And so sometimes you are picking up other people. At least in my case, I know I am. I might be picking up the vibe of someone else. In other circumstances, you think that you're supposed to do something, and then you start to try to do it, and then it immediately gets shut down, and you go, okay, no. But then there are other times where you do need to do it, and then it all falls into place, and it's the right thing that's supposed to
And
happen.
we assume that it's always supposed to be talking and, like, you know, to your point,
right.
It's not, sometimes it's being there, praying for somebody. It's not
Absolutely.
preaching at them.
Right.
You know, yelling at people on the subway in New York,
Right.
yelling
or
in your face.
Jesus loves you. Okay, bye.
Right. Like, what did that even do right now? Right.
You don't, sometimes ministering to someone means just being there for someone, being a person to just talk to.
Exactly.
Or even you not necessarily talking to them, you listening while they talk.
Exactly. There was a question from Nikki F. And
Okay.
she wanted to know, there was an episode where one of the characters in the show was questioning the Bible and questioning faith.
Yes.
And, you know, can you relate to that, you know, in your own life, any skepticism at moments?
You know, it's a combination of yes for myself, but also yes for people around me. One of my best friends is a liberal and an atheist, and I say that simply because, you know, typically Christians are more right-leaning, but, you know, nowadays Christians are Christians, right? And I say, I have friends of mine who say we don't lean right or left, we're a monarchy because we worship a king, and our king is Jesus. But he is definitely an atheist, and he and I discuss a lot, and I'm witness to his doubt. And for me, a lot of the things that he doubts, it's not that it doesn't make sense to me, but I kind of go, well, why do you feel that way? And then I will go, well, that question can be answered with blah, 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 and here's this piece of scripture. And then, you know, that when you're discussing with someone who just plain doesn't believe, there are times where you need to minister and just simply say, well, no, actually in the Bible it does say this. And it's not an interpretation, it's not some theological rabbit trail. It's no, literally here is what it says, and this is what I believe, and blah, 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 and you present that to them. And there will be times where they go, oh, I didn't know that. But then there's other circumstances where there are people that just plain don't want to believe. And so that's where you do what you can, but remember that it's not you
Right.
trying to save anyone.
Right.
It's you
It's
just
between them and God.
Absolutely. And even the Apostle Paul says, no, we are supposed to be prepared to defend our faith, but that's it. And it's defending our faith. It's not defending God, because he can do that, and he has. And so, going back to the question, I do experience doubt. There are times where the Lord will reveal something to me and immediately remove that doubt. There's other times where the question takes a lot longer to answer. Sometimes a lot of our questions never get answered. And that's just part of, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, navigating our life with our faith.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, it's so important. I think, I just want to go back to your friend. We've
Yeah.
talked about this friend before.
Yes, we have.
And I think it's powerful at a time when people can't find common ground with one another, that you have this deep friendship with somebody who sees the world
Absolutely.
through the lens of the Bible and somebody who doesn't.
Absolutely.
Any advice to people out there about how to navigate that in their own lives?
There's a difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy one, right? If you are in an unhealthy relationship, you do really need to look at that, not from the point of disrespect and prejudice towards the other person, but simply as, well, is there no way to move forward, right? And that can happen. But when you have a healthy relationship, I've been friends with this friend of mine since we were kids, like 7 and 8, right? We've been building a friendship for 13, 14 years. And so to have that friendship, I do fully acknowledge that we are not going to agree with everything. But what we do is what we do have common ground with, that is so much more special to us. And at the same time, with this friend, it's all a matter of being respectful. And that is one thing that I do appreciate, at least specifically with him and me, is he respects my faith, he respects what I believe. Sometimes I will have to correct him, because he may get a for lack of a better word, a stereotype of, oh, well, you're a Christian, therefore you believe this. No, hold on, because I do believe X, Y, Z, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where you navigate it as it comes, as it goes. You cross bridges when you come to them. If you feel placed on your heart that you need to share something with that friend of yours and let them know, just purely to say this is what I believe, or my opinion is this, that's great. But knowing, again, being firm in who you are, knowing there is a difference between right and wrong, there is a truth and a lie. And whenever you communicate, you say the truth. You don't make up something to suit the situation. You just go, well, the word says this. And again, you have to be respectful towards each other, but the respect has to be mutual. And thankfully, I'm very thankful that I do experience that mutual respect with my friend. He respects me as much as I respect him, and then we just navigate our friendship that way.
That's a model. That's a model for what we need right now, I think, in
I
culture.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, the next question's really hard-hitting. I don't know if you're going to be able to answer it. I'm a
Okay.
little bit worried, but I'm just going to ask you.
Sure.
11-year-old Joseph B. wants to know, what's your favorite food?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
Wow.
think about this carefully before you
will.
answer, because America's watching.
I know. I'll take a full 30 seconds of this segment to answer this question. Well, the truth is, I was very close-minded when it came to food growing up. I survived on mustard sandwiches, which was bread, mustard, and bread.
That actually doesn't sound horrible, though.
It's not. It's very, very much not.
Interestingly.
Haven't had one in a while, though. May have to at some point soon. But yeah, I was very much the chicken nuggets with ketchup or a mustard sandwich guy growing up, and it was very difficult for me to eat. And actually, one of the great things about being in the industry is there are scenes where you're forced to eat food. And no matter how much you want to mime it or not, you still have to take a bite of something. And as that happened, it kind of exposed me to different tastes, different flavors, different textures. And then my mom is an amazing cook. I mean, she's outlandish. And so she exposed me to stuff as she would find things, and it snowballed from there, and I became this big foodie. So the unfortunate and fortunate answer is I love all food. And so I can't say just one.
But if you were trapped on an island, you could only have one food for the rest of your life.
That's true.
What would it be?
Oh my goodness. Well,
mine would be pizza. I know you don't care, but it would be.
Well, no, I mean, pizza is pretty legit, though.
It is.
I would have to say, my mom and I, we spent this summer doing a lot of barbecuing. And so I would have to say it's a tie between getting a nice, thick cut of steak and just barbecue up a bunch of those every day and probably dig up some potatoes or something. Or I'd just take a lifetime supply with bison burgers with me and just do that.
Not the bread and mustard, though.
Not the bread. Well, I would need to take the bread and mustard if it's a burger, but...
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So one of the last questions here. This is from Brandy F. What is your favorite holiday memory from your childhood?
That's a good one. I'm very fortunate because my mom was the type of parent where she would bring the world to me if I couldn't go to the world. And then if I could, she would take me to the world. Christmas time is very special, and I think it's very special for all of us, whether we are Christian or not. Obviously, as Christians, we know the meaning of the holiday. But Christmas is such a time of love and of peace and of harmony and innocence, and it's so special to be able to experience that, especially when you have a family. And as far as Christmas goes, there is a location near my hometown where it's an entire neighborhood that decorate up the wazoo with lights. I mean, they go all out, and just everyone is going for it. And there's like houses where the whole family is a band. They'll play live music. Some people give out candy canes. It's amazing. So greatest holiday tradition for me, and this kind of ties in with memory as well, is my mom and I will go, okay, we're going to go to this place. So we swing through Starbucks, we get our hot chocolates, and then we sit in the car and we just go through the neighborhood and look at all the lights and read The Night Before Christmas. So that has to be one of my favorite memories of all time.
And you still do that? It's a tradition?
Still do that. It's a tradition. We try to do it every year.
I love it. Well, you know what I love about this interview, too?
Yeah.
We went heavy. We started with the Bible. We went into theology.
Absolutely.
We went into how we fix the world's problems, the divisiveness.
Yes.
And then we ended with your favorite food and your holiday tradition. You can't ask for a better interview trajectory.
Absolutely. This is fantastic.
Well, and to everyone out there who asked questions, thank you so much for asking them.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed hearing those responses. Make sure you tune in next week for the next episode of Pure Talk. You can go to facebook.com/PureFlix.
Here's the deal. PureFlix.com has 6,500 titles you can watch right now. That's way too many to show you in just 90 seconds, but you know what? Here we go.
The man, you were the dog. I am talking to a dog.
How many times do you know the directions to your house, but you listening to the phone?